Hello there, Reverend Michael McMorrow coming to you. Reverend Dr. Michael McMorrow coming to you. Doctor. Coming to you from the sanctuary here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills, California, which is in the North San Fernando Valley. About 40 minutes from LAX, if you've ever been there. So that's how you get here. For those of you who are local, of course, there's plenty of room here on Wednesday nights, and of course we also meet on Sundays. And we welcome all who practice their beliefs and faith and love. So if you've tuned in before and you're curious about what we're doing here, you're most welcome to come check us out in person if you're nearby. And so we're going to start this evening the way we start, the way that we've been doing it now for 51 nights. And we're going to just warm up. So this holiday season, I don't know about you, but I've already been into the sugar. And of course, cookies are like the perfect food group for carbs, fat, and sugar. And I'm not complaining neither. So this is a good little loosen up. Something about that sugar kind of seems to tighten everything up. I'm just loosening up the spine and taking away the desk job creakiness. And just breathing deeply. And so let's do a little forward fold action. So why don't I start in the chair tonight? Is this a good spot, Renzen? Am I in the picture?
Yes, you are.
Okay. All right. Come on in. And so just scoot yourself out on the edge of the seat. And we're just hands to the sides, and then we're just going to breathe up. And then release. Oh, and I need to get off my shirt tail. And then just allow ourselves to, so we're just a gentle stretch with a flat back. And just feel that lower back loosen up a little bit. Ooh, that's nice. And then tighten the tummy and very gently bring ourselves up. Inhaling all the way up. And exhaling down. Back down we go. Just feel that little stretch. Tighten the belly. Breathing on the way up. And exhaling down. And so if you're in a standing position, you might want to do a chair. Just do a flat back with the arms extended. And if you drop the shoulders a little bit, you can get a little stretch in the shoulders too. Then bending the knees, tightening the belly, breathing on the way up. And exhaling down. Again, using the chair to steady ourselves. The knees are bent, feet shoulder width apart. And we're just gently allowing that flat back to stretch a little bit. Feel the hamstrings stretch. Bend the knees, tighten the tummy, breathing on the way up. And exhale down.
So I don't know if you guys are doing this at home, but if you're not, believe me, it's a nice little stretch. Getting some space in that lower back. Bend the knees, tighten the tummy, breathing up.
And exhaling down.
So we'll take a few breaths down here. I have to say my lower back's a little tight. So just releasing that and breathing into it. So on that exhale, you can feel a little release in there. All right, bend the knees, tighten the tummy.
Up we go. Let's just take a moment just to reach for the sky and allow ourselves to tip back just a little bit. Tummy back, taking a breath on the way down now. And hands to the side and make our way to the chair. Or you can do this standing, of course. But I have a feeling most of you at home are in a chair. So we're going to put our left hand down with the thumb out. And we're going to breathe on the way up. And we're going to look through the armpit to the left. And we're just stretching this side. And then we're going to exhale on the way down. Left hand on the hip, right arm down, thumb out. Breathing on the way up. Eyes to the right. Looking through the armpit. And just getting a gentle stretch in the ribs. And be careful with that shoulder. Keep it down in the socket. Then exhale down. Right hand on the hip, left hand down. Breathing on the way up. And now we're going to raise the ribs off the waistline. Feel that nice little stretch in there. Exhale down. Left hand on the waist, right arm down. Breathing on the way up. Eyes to the right. Lift up off the waist. Exhale down. Right arm on the right hand on the waist, left arm down. Or left arm down. That'll work too. All right, breathing on the way up. Eyes to the left. Again, raising that waist, raising the ribs, and again, keeping the arm down into the shoulder. Breathing. Exhale down. One more on the other side, right arm down. Breathing on the way up. Eyes to the right. Lifting those ribs. Release. All right. So let's stretch the neck out a little bit. We should have done that first, actually. So just take it to the left. Eyes forward. Take it to the right. Eyes forward. Of course, we're breathing as we do this, right? Exhale to the center. Breathing to the right. Exhale to the center. One more time to the left. See if you can breathe into a little more space. Of course, our posture is erect. Exhale to the center. Off to the right. And to the center. Okay, so now let's move that neck around. So I'm going to rotate to the, let's see, left and back, but you can go whichever way works for you. And it's just a very gentle, slow motion. We're not in a hurry. And while we do this, so in person and on Zoom, we have a Christmas Eve service. And the music is going to be with Teresa James. Okay, eyes to the center. And go back the other way. And we have a special treat. As if Teresa is not enough of a treat, we get to hear Miriam Green, too. So, if you're not busy cooking, wrapping, or doing the usual holiday bustle, to the center and now reverse, going the other way. And join us for an hour. It'll be a candlelight service, so if you're here, I'll have the candles for you. But if you're at home, you'll need a candle for that part. That feels good. And going back the other way. Okay, eyes to the front. Let's just stand one more time, or however you want to do it, and we'll just do a little twist and shout. So, I have my Christmas cards almost done, which means with the new and improved postal service, some of you won't be getting them until New Year's. But they'll be postmarked before Christmas, and so I hope you'll acknowledge that attempt, however feeble. Yeah. Well, they probably technically are holiday cards, I guess. All right, so there we go. It feels pretty good, right? Let's just move those shoulders around. Yeah. It's like the old 90s rap guys used to do that, right? On the videos. That's where I picked it up from them. Yeah. Okay. What's that?
I thought you were in the country western.
Are you trying to say I'm some kind of country fluck guy? All right, as we make our way to the center. And I was telling Renzen before the service that I'm considering relinquishing my Seahawks blanket because clearly it has not helped. 5-9 for the season. So maybe that's so. Yeah. So it's we're going to just do our opening service. So if you will join me in taking a deep breath as we come together for our call to service, which we call Lighting the Flames of Faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. Now, fundamental to this truth is a unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this evening. So the first candle we light is for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. The third candle we light for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. The fourth candle we light for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. The eighth candle we light for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The ninth candle we light for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here at this center, within our online community, and within our own hearts. And behind me we have lit the healing candle. Just take a moment to think of anyone you may know in need of healing, including yourself. And please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I surrender. I surrender. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I surrender. I surrender. I trust in God.
And so let's take a breath together. And in that release, we're just surrendering to this eternal now moment as we just claim this time to rest, knowing that there is within us that spark of the divine, that we recognize that there is no spot where God is not, and so right where we sit, right where we are, the Spirit dwells. And so we allow ourselves to connect with this idea mentally And then let that thought drop down to the heart as we open our heart to the infinite wellspring of love itself. And so from this place of conscious unity with the One, we set an intention for this meditation time this evening, even as we release any attachment as to how it unfolds. We allow ourselves this time, free of concerns of shopping, cooking, possible holiday distress, that we're just releasing whatever's going on and just allowing ourselves to be. So in this place of being then, we are experiencing peace, harmony, serenity. And so in deep gratitude, I know this for all, releasing it to its divine unfoldment, knowing it is done, knowing it is so. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. Amen. And so for those of you, I know there's a pretty committed handful that have been with us through this year of 2021. This is the last time we'll be dipping into this book this year, because next week we have a real treat. Brian Lottman will be here. He's bringing his harmonium in, and so we'll have an evening of chanting and stories and lesson and more chanting. So it'll be a longer program. It'll be about an hour and a half. So allow yourself just the opportunity to chant in the new year. But we've been working with this book, The Infinite Way, by Joel Goldsmith. And I wanted to close by, we've talked about this before, but not in some time. And it was my buddy, Brett Potter, who turned me on to this, because he's a big Goldsmith guy. And in the back of the book, The Infinite Way, there are wisdoms of the infinite way, plural. And it looks like there's 100 or so little gems, Goldsmith gems, and lifted out of the sometimes well, the word that comes to me is ponderous text, but these pull out the little nuggets, and there's a lot of them. And so some of them are short. For instance, life is not at the mercy of matter. Life is not at the mercy of matter. Here's another one. God is not power. When you reach the center of consciousness, you find a complete stillness, a deep well of silence. It is not power, since there is nothing for it to be a power to or over. It just is. Now, this is interesting to consider, because I think many of us, when we begin meditating, we think we're supposed to arrive in some place, and we put expectations on what it is that we're supposed to experience, including that there, maybe even there should be some big, auric love fest with the divine in light and sound and all these other things. And certainly I do know people who have had that experience. But what I have found within my own practice, such as it is that when I have experienced a deep meditative state, it's simply stillness, where time seems to both stand still and race by simultaneously, if that makes any sense. So on the one hand, 20, 25, 30 minutes has gone by, and yet on the other hand, it seems like I just closed my eyes. So, and the beauty, now, and I have to say that is not my experience every time I sit. Usually it's just working with the breath and just that, staying with the breath. Here's a gem. Seeking guidance from God at this stage of your unfoldment will set up a sense of separation from God. Now, why does he say that? Because when we're seeking guidance from God, then there's this subtle belief in separation, right? It gives a sense of God and someone needing help, direction, or wisdom. Actually, you need to let God be, to be your life. Then it lives, acts, performs, and is your very being. That's pretty powerful, right? We'll do a couple more of these. Let me do a longer one. Do not be misled. Here is the secret. You ready for this, Miriam? Here's the secret. Fill your consciousness with the Word of God. Hear it, read it, ponder it, meditate upon it. This enriches and ripens consciousness, and this deeper, purer consciousness now becomes the cause, law, substance, and activity of your existence. This nobler consciousness, which has evolved through study, practice, and meditation, attains the conscious communion with God and reaches through to the deep silence of my peace. My peace being that capital M peace, the peace of the divine. Then you are lifted into the realm of atmosphere, transcending words, transcending thoughts. Oh, here's one for Christmas. I die hard. Get it? Die hard? Okay. It says it right here. I didn't know Bruce Willis was into... yeah. Okay, last one and then we'll meditate. Students are often concerned that their own happiness, peace, and harmony are not complete, that they can bring greater good to others than to themselves. This often brings doubts and fears to the student. Doubt that God is still with him. Fear that a sense of separation from God may permanently hold him. These things come only that the student never shall be tempted to glorify himself or to take pride in his own understanding. Yeah. In other words, look out for spiritual arrogance. Right? So we can catch ourselves in that one. Like if we've ever heard ourselves, well, they're much lower vibration than I am. Naughty, naughty. Yeah, we want to avoid thinking like that, right? Because the truth is that we are all in this life working in our own natural unfoldment and awareness of the divine in our life. And I think here it's good to remember what the Buddha taught long ago, is that people act out of ignorance until they know better. So, and that's good to know for ourselves too, right? Particularly if we're judging ourselves for some particular thing, that we have some sense that we're supposed to be something other than we are, right? We should have achieved this or have this, or I should have zigged, instead I zagged. You know, these are not helpful ways of thinking. So here we are at this. Yesterday was the solstice, and so today was a little bit longer than yesterday. We're now going to move into the phase within our calendar where the days start getting longer, imperceptibly so, but still longer just the same. We have all these images of lights all around us, bringing in the light into the darkness. And so let's just work with that tonight, shall we? Just to bring more light into our awareness, the light that is already there. So let's just start by taking a deep conscious breath and release. And we're just going to start by paying attention to the movement of the breath in the nostril. Just letting any wiggles and jiggles, right? Maybe even tuck our tailbone in a little bit if you need to release that lower back, so we're not holding tension, right? We're comfortably erect in our posture. And as we follow the breath, we'll see the mind begins to still. So we just scan the body to release tension. The feet through the legs, knees, tailbone, hips, tummy just rises and falls. And should any thoughts come up, we can just take a breath and release, and then just go back to observing the breath in the nostril again. Paying attention to the exhale. With each exhale, we're releasing. Surrendering to the now. As we move into the silence now, taking a deep breath together. And off we go. Staying with the breath. And see with me, within your own heart, that place where the flame of the divine dwells, that eternal flame. And how with each in-breath we are fanning that flame. So that this flame now, growing in brilliance and radiance, to a ball of light, a light that illuminates, a fire that illuminates rather than consumes. So with each in-breath now, we're allowing this ball of light to expand. In the same way when we blow a balloon, so we're breathing in the light of the season, the light of love, of inspiration, of health, glad tidings. This ball of light now, a globe of light, extending beyond the body, torso, side to side, front to back, top to bottom. We're now sitting in this ball of light and love. And staying with the breath that expands even more. Beyond our fingertips, and we feel our chest and our heart opening. We are feeling the love within this light and the light within this love as it extends even further, filling the very room in which we find ourselves within this field of light and love that extends now, bounded by nothing. And so we join our brothers and sisters now with this light and love, the divine energy of life itself expressing. So in this field of light and love, we then cast off our cares, concerns, expectations, intentions. Just take a deep breath and just release it all now. As we know together that this light, this love is but an expression of the allness of God, as we understand it to be, that there is but one power, one presence, one source, one life, one light, one infinite intelligence, the loving wellspring, the source of all, that we are one with it. And so as we bring this meditation time to a close, we allow ourselves to experience the fullness of life, the fullness of love, that we are allowing a healing now that is being activated by this light and love at a subatomic level, that every atom, every molecule, every cell, every muscle, every bone, every sinew, every neuron is firing with this light and love of the divine, that we are attuning to a vibration of life, vibrating higher than when we first sat down, that we are in this resonance then, allowing a pattern of perfection to emerge and to express itself fully in, through, and as our life, as radiant good health, as a sense of connectedness, of friendship, of love, goodwill, glad tidings with all, that we allow our creativity to acknowledge that our spirituality is the driver of our creativity, and so we're intuitively drawn to new and creative and dynamic ideas. And then as we move our way through the rest of this week, we do so with a spring in our step and a song in our heart. That as we leave here this evening and make our way through to the bed, that as our head hits the pillow, we drift off easily to sleep, sleeping deeply, restfully, dreaming sweet dreams. That we awaken feeling rested, revitalized, with a sense of vim and vigor and excitement for the day. So we take a deep breath with that idea and release this word, the cares, concerns, and tensions of anyone listening, that we're releasing now to that aspect of the mind of the divine itself, the wellspring of love, unconditional love. As a law of its own being, that aspect of the divine that knows only to say yes. Yes, my beloved, yes, in you I am well pleased. And so again, we take a breath. And in deep gratitude and confidence, we just release it all now to its divine unfoldment. Knowing that it is done, knowing it is so. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. Amen. So that concludes this meditation. So again, we have a few things going on in the holiday schedule. 6 o'clock on Friday night. This Friday, Christmas Eve. If you can join us, that'd be lovely. You can join us here in the sanctuary for the candlelight service. You can join us at home. Just have a candle and a match handy. Then next week, of course, is Brian Lotman, as I mentioned earlier. Then on the morning of New Year's Eve at 4 a.m., which is at noon, Greenwich Mean Time, or whatever they're calling it now, is the World Peace Meditation, where millions of people meditate simultaneously, and that will be on Zoom this year, just because it's convenient and you're used to doing it, and I don't want to come all the way over here unless there's people here. So anyway, so it'll be on Zoom. That's at 4 a.m. And then, of course, in the evening, you can drum in the new year with Lissa and Al and Reverend Jessica. So bring your own pots and pans and drums and anything else you want to beat on. And then the first service in January then is our burning bowl ceremony. So where you can make welcome the new year and release the old in a fiery flame of spontaneous combustion. So for all you who like such things, that's always a meaningful thing. And of course, the great music of Teresa James will be available that Sunday as well. So until then, know that you're loved. Peace and blessings. A very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. and I'll see you then.